Today, I just wanted to go through the difference between maybe a call center or doing it in insurance on an app or versus a personal having a personal agent, somebody that's a local agent. So there's obviously a lot of different choices out there when it comes to your insurance, whether it be for auto, home, life, umbrella, you name it. There's insurance out there for it for the most part. When you use a call center, those people are going to be located throughout the country and not typically not going to be local to maybe understand some things that happen in this area versus where they're from. And then also doing it yourself on the app. Remember, not going if you don't know exactly what you're doing and make a mistake on that. Insurance is pretty black and white on coverages a lot of times. So, if you make a mistake by putting in, maybe less coverage than you need, or maybe too much coverage than you need, you're either going to be overpaying for insurance or possibly, not have the right coverage when it comes to when you need a claim when something does happen. So having a local agent does a few different things. Number one, for example, here in Arizona, like a glass coverage is probably one of the most desired things that we have on our auto insurance policy, just due to the fact of so many rocks. And obviously we live in the desert, so there's not as much rain. And then also for like home insurance, we don't see as much rain, but we do see a lot of wind, especially during monsoon season, like late in the summer. So knowing what things are going to help cover there, or what could typically happen at the house. Like it's pretty rare we replace roofs here in Arizona, but sometimes we do have storm damage that we need to get repaired. But for example, it's pretty rare. We don't have hail very, very rarely. So therefore, not necessarily going to need a new roof. Plus, there's all kinds of different roofs down here than there is across the country. So it does vary quite a bit from area to area. So even though we're in Phoenix, if you go a couple hours up into the mountains, it's totally different than it is down here in the valley as well. So knowing those type of differences is going to be huge to make sure you're properly protected. Now, insurance can't cover you against 100% of everything that could possibly ever happen. What we're trying to do, though, is make sure we can get as close to 99 as possible. So making sure you have enough coverage. So the more assets you have, obviously, the more we have to cover. If you're just starting out, let's say you're a youngster, in your 20s, you're renting an apartment and you got a decent job, you don't need as much coverage as you do, as when you're going to be, let's say in your 40s and 50s, when you have kids, a home, mortgage payments, you have savings, we've got, investments, things of that nature. So we've got a lot more to protect in those areas than we do necessarily when we start out. So variance of coverage is going to change. For example, when we get a little bit older, let's say we're well past retirement and we're getting close to the end of our money, so to speak, we don't need as much coverage as we did probably in our 40s and 50s, maybe even 60s, just because we don't have as many assets as we did before. One big thing, though, is watching people that have not enough coverage, but they have a free and clear home. If you do get into an auto accident and you have a free and clear house, they can come after a portion of your house in order to satisfy a judgment if somebody was to get hurt in an auto accident. That's something you're not going to find online when you do an online app. That's something that a non-local agent or a call center is not going to typically bring that up as well, because they're just trying to push through the insurance. We want to make sure that we cover you the best that we can. Now, you still have the option to choose whichever insurance you want or coverage, but we want to make sure that you're well aware of exactly what we would recommend for coverage wise. That's going to be a big thing on a local agent. Another one too is also the personal service after the fact. So there are some times when I would need you to call the claim center if we had a claim, because they'll need to walk you through some stuff, but we would like the opportunity to just kind of walk you through it. So give you some expectations of what you should, what's coming your way, of what information you're going to need, or if it's something simple that we can call in for you, we'd be more than happy to do that as well. Now, a lot of people ask, well, with the personal agent, I like the convenience of an app. Well, Farmers, for example, they have an app. All the auto insurance companies under Farmer umbrella all have apps. Same for the home. So that way you can log in and see exactly if you need 24-hour access to your policy. It's not a problem. Or when you sign with your policy, we're going to send you evidence of insurance and ID cards. So those are things that you can keep and store on your computer or phone or laptop or iPad or whatever it may be. And then also, if you need anything sent to you, we can also send that, like a renewal time. We can send you updated coverages or anything of that nature as well. So that way you can just store it and not have to carry all the paperwork. So that's a big thing as well. We also have the paperless option, where everything's basically email, texted, to you, just like a lot of the other do-it-yourself companies. So you get the benefit of having that access, but with somebody on the other end that's also looking out for your best interests. So those are just a few different things, the difference between call centers, do-it-yourself on the app, or, for example, having a personal local agent. There's a lot, like I said, a lot of different options out there for you to choose from. So even if you just need somebody to walk you through on what kind of coverage you need, and it necessarily doesn't work out between us at this time, it doesn't mean I won't walk you through on exactly what we would recommend to help you out. So I wanted to thank you for joining me on this episode of Doing Insurance Right. As always, if you could rate, review, or subscribe to whatever fantastic platform you're listening to us on, whether it be Spotify, Apple, Google, iHeartRadio, or any of the other ones out there, I greatly appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.